Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
We're taking this stack of articles, notes, all the research you send over, and really digging in to figure out what matters most.
That's good.
Today's mission, we're unpacking everything we can from this material about a potential 2025 NBA Finals matchup, Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Indiana Pacers.
Ooh, yeah. That's a fun one to think about.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, what a potential collision course, right?
Yeah.
Two super exciting young teams, and they both got here in really different ways.
That's exactly right. And look, obviously we don't know how the series actually plays out, right? No crystal ball.
Right.
But the sources you've got here, they give us this incredibly rich foundation. You get the history, the roster breakdowns, the roads they took. It really sets the stage.
Okay, let's dig in then. First thing that jumps out from the material is the history. Both teams are chasing a title, obviously, but their stories are, completely different.
Yeah, and it's compelling to think how that history, hangs over them or maybe motivates them now.
Totally. Let's start with OKC. The material reminds us their roots are actually the Seattle Supersonics, founded way back 1967.
Right.
And the franchise has won a championship, but that was 1979 as the Sonics.
Yeah, Lenny Wilkens coaching. The reports mention Finals MVP Dennis Johnson, Gus Williams. Those guys were key. A big moment for Seattle back then.
Then the big move, relocation to Oklahoma City in 2008. And the Thunder, well, their only other finals trip before this potential one was 2012.
Yes. The Durant, Westbrook, Harden core, so young then.
Exactly. And everyone thought they'd be back year after year.
But they lost to LeBron's Heat.
They did. So the material really hammers this point. For this Thunder team, in 2025, it's not just winning a title, it's bringing that first one to Oklahoma City. That is a whole layer,
Yeah.
Pressure, maybe motivation, like you said.
Definitely adds weight. Now the Pacers.
Yeah, you flip over to the Pacers, and it's just a totally different vibe historically, especially thinking about the ABA.
Oh, absolutely. Their legacy, the notes really emphasize this. It's deeply tied to the ABA. They weren't just in it. They were a powerhouse.
3 ABA titles, right? 1970, 72, 73, boom, boom.
Yeah, they really cemented themselves as maybe the top team in that league before the merger. A
Yeah.
real legacy there.
But, and this is the key thing the sources point out, that NBA championship, it's always been just out of reach.
Just the one NBA Finals appearance since they joined the league. That was back in 2000.
Against the Shaq and Kobe Lakers, lost in 6.
Right. So this potential 2025 Finals, it's their first shot at the title stage in, 25 years? A whole generation.
Wow, yeah.
So the narrative here, based on the material, it's all about finally grabbing that elusive NBA trophy after such a long, rich history spanning 2 different leagues.
So you've got these contrasting stories. OKC trying to win one for their city, building on roots from elsewhere. Indiana, dominant in another league, still chasing that first NBA ring.
Yeah.
That historical backdrop feels pretty significant.
It absolutely frames the stakes differently for each team, no question.
Okay, so moving from the past to the present. The players. The articles you shared make it crystal clear. Both these teams are built on youth, on athleticism, and just incredible versatility.
Yeah, it's definitely the modern NBA blueprint, But they've gone about it with pretty distinct philosophies.
Looking at OKC's roster first,
Yeah.
the material calls their rise remarkably swift, fueled by all that draft capital and, frankly, amazing player development.
And the key guys just jump off the page in these reports. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, he's not just the scorer, he's the undisputed leader, likely MVP candidate.
Right.
The reports highlight his, deliberate style, drawing fouls, controlling tempo, plus elite scoring, creating, and defense. Just a premier two-way player.
Then you've got Chet Holmgren, the towering big man, but the analysis stresses it's not just height, it's the elite rim protection and the floor spacing, the offensive skill. He just changes the whole geometry of the court.
He really does. And Jalen Williams, J-Dub, he's highlighted as that dynamic wing. Scores, passes, defends multiple spots, crucial secondary option.
Can't forget Lou Dort either. That defensive tenacity on the perimeter, vital. He's the guy guarding the other team's star.
Absolutely essential to their identity. And the depth pieces are important too. Guys like Isaiah Joe, the sharpshooter, Cason Wallace, the 3-and-D guard. Lots of young, athletic guys who contribute.
So the overall theme from the material on OKC,
Yeah.
length, athleticism, and this really strong, almost suffocating defensive mindset.
Mm-hmm. Now, on the flip side, you have Indiana. Under Rick Carlisle, they've built this high-octane offense. It's their calling card, even as their defense has gotten better. Push, push, push the pace.
And their engine, according to everything we've read, is Tyrese Halliburton. Just an elite playmaker, exceptional court vision. He makes that whole thing go, turns stops into fast breaks instantly.
He really does. And adding Pascal Siakam, that's highlighted as huge. Veteran presence, versatile front court scoring, and championship experience. That matters.
Yeah, that experience could be key.
Yeah.
Then there's Miles Turner, anchors the defense, strong rim protector, but also pulls the opposing big out with his three-point shooting. Critical for spacing.
Absolutely critical. And Benedict Mathurin, he's noted as that dynamic young scorer. Instant offense, whether starting or off the bench. Attacks the rim, hits big shots.
And they've got complementary guys, too, like Aaron Nesmith, another 3-and-D wing, Obi Toppin, super athletic forward. They all fit that fast-paced style, great in transition.
Yeah, they slot in perfect.
So you really see the contrast, right? OKC, built through the draft, defense first, length, methodical offense often run through SGA. Versus the Pacers, built around Halliburton, speed, high-powered offense, boosted by key veteran additions. Sets up a fantastic style clash.
It really does. And the material actually gives us a little taste of how that clash went down during the regular season.
Right. And the report suggests OKC pretty much had their number in those games in 2024, 2025.
Yeah, they won both matchups. One report had the scores as OKC 120, Indiana 114, and then later OKC 132, Indiana 111. Pretty decisive wins.
The analysis in these pieces suggests those wins really showed OKC imposing their style, both offensively and defensively, on the Pacers. But what really stood out to me, reading through this, was that stat about the Thunder against the entire East.
Oh, yeah, that 29-1 record?
29-1.
Yeah.
Against the whole Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
That's staggering.
It's almost unheard of. I mean, it suggests they weren't just good. They consistently figured out all sorts of different styles from Eastern teams. That adaptability, the ability to solve different problems, that's a huge insight the material points to.
Yeah. So, while you never want to put too much stock in regular season,
Right. Playoffs are different.
winning both head-to-heads and having that insane 29-1 record against the East, the material definitely notes that gives OKC a significant psychological edge. Suggests they match up well.
It's proof of concept, at least. They know they can beat teams playing that Eastern Conference style.
Okay, so getting to the finals.
Yeah.
It means surviving that playoff gauntlet. The structure, standard stuff the reading confirms. 4 rounds, best of 7, that 2-2-1-1-1 format.
And both these teams, they navigated some really tough paths to get here. Different kinds of challenges, though.
For the Thunder, top seed in the West, the material details their journey. Sounds like they had maybe a dominant early round, then a real grinder, like a 7-game battle that tested them before closing out the conference finals.
Yeah, after a 68-win regular season, facing that kind of escalating pressure in the playoffs, the reports say it really forged this young team, proved their toughness.
Meanwhile, the Pacers, coming out of the East as the number 4 seed, their road, according to the material, was probably more about overcoming odds, knocking off higher seeds, likely winning some shootouts with that offense, showing real tenacity.
Exactly, maybe seen as underdogs in some of those series. So both teams definitely earned their spot, just through different kinds of trials, both battle-tested in their own way.
And the material even gets into the nitty-gritty of the final stage itself. Timing, usually early June kickoff. And the sources actually lay out a potential schedule for this specific matchup in 2025, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it makes it feel real.
Game 1 listed for Thursday, June 5th in OKC, since they'd have home court.
Right, better record. Game 2, Sunday, June 8th, also OKC.
Then it flips to Indiana. Game 3 on Wednesday the 11th. Game 4, Friday the 13th.
Then back to OKC, if needed, for Game 5 on Monday the 16th.
Game 6, if it goes that far, Thursday the 19th, back in Indy.
And the ultimate, Game 7, Sunday, June 22nd, back in Oklahoma City.
Yep, that's the standard 2-2-1-1-1 setup.
All games, obviously, broadcast on ABC here in the U.S. That's pretty standard for the finals. Now, let's talk odds.
Right, the betting lines. Always dynamic, you know. Depends on how teams are playing right then, who's healthy, historical stuff, where the money's going. Sportsbooks crunch all that.
So hypothetically.
Hypothetically, yeah, the report suggests the Thunder would likely open as the favorites, based mostly on the amazing regular season record and maybe the tougher perceived path through the West.
Makes sense. And tickets. Forget about it. Hottest ticket in sports, right? Oh, absolutely. Sold through the teams, the NBA, Ticketmaster, those secondary markets like Vivid Seats, and prices, as you'd guess, are all over the place.
Depends on the seat, the game.
Yeah.
Whether it could be the clincher.
Exactly. The material even mentions, like, courtside for a potential Game 7, just astronomical prices.
Yeah, it tells you everything about the hype and the stakes.
It really underscores the spectacle of it all.
Okay, let's peel back from the logistics and get back to the court. The actual basketball. The sources highlight some absolutely fascinating clashes here. Styles, individual battles.
Yeah, this is where it's really interesting. The marquee matchup, the one everyone's going to watch, has got to be SGA versus Halliburton.
Oh, for sure. The reports really play up that contrast, don't they? SGA's methodical, efficient scoring, his defense versus Halliburton's like a dazzling passes, the court vision, pushing that insane pace. How they affect each other could be huge.
Definitely. Then there's the big picture battle. Thunder's Elite D against the Pacers' #1 offense. You know, OKC's length, Holmgren protecting the rim, Dort locking down the perimeter. All trying to slow down Indiana's fast breaks and high scoring. It's a fundamental clash of identities.
And that means the battle for pace is probably going to be massive, right? The Pacers want to run, score 120, 130 points. The Thunder, while they can score, the materials suggest they're more comfortable grinding it out, relying on defense to win. Who controls the tempo? That could swing games.
It really could. And another dynamic we shouldn't ignore. Veteran experience versus the young stars. You've got Pascal Siakam on the Pacers side. He's won a ring.
Right, with Toronto.
Exactly. And that's a stark contrast to this Thunder core making their first finals trip together.
Although it's fair to point out the sources are careful to mention how poised those young Thunder guys, like SGA, Holmgren, J-Dub, looked throughout the playoffs.
Yeah.
They didn't seem rattled by the big moments leading up to this.
That's true. They've shown a lot of maturity, so it's this really compelling mix. Youth, established stars, crucial experience on one side. Going to be fascinating to watch it play out.
So yeah, pulling it all together, this dive into the sources, it just reinforces why the anticipation for a series like this would be immense.
It really felt like, reading through this, a potential changing of the guard moment for the NBA. You've got two teams here that look built not just for this one run, but for sustained success.
Yeah, absolutely. And the mix of the history, the dynamic young players, those contrasting styles, the tough roads they took, it just had all the ingredients for a potentially classic championship series.
Super captivating for basketball fans everywhere. Because the outcome, the way the sources frame it, it feels bigger than just one series. It's either OKC completing this amazing rebuild, reaching the summit for their city, or it's the Pacers finally breaking through and winning that first NBA title after decades of history.
And getting into these sources like this, it gives you, the listener, such a detailed view, not just who's playing, but why it matters, the specific strengths, the history, the strategy.
Exactly. It helps you see the specific ingredients pulled right from the material we looked at that make up a modern NBA Finals contender. Lets you understand the nuances.
So, as you think about this potential matchup, here's a final thought from the sources to chew on. Can the Pacers' lightning-fast offense, boosted by Siakam's crucial veteran experience, finally overcome that historical hurdle and grab the NBA title? Or is the Thunder's suffocating defense, their length, and their incredibly poised young core just inevitable? Is this the start of the league's next dynasty rising in the West?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Huge implications either way.
Thanks for going on this deep dive with us.